Hello, 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 everyone. Welcome back to another video. Okay, let's see what I got for you right now. Before you gonna come and tell me, you brought another concept. You got this. You know. Well, no, it's not a concept. As much you want to think it is, as much it may look like one, it's not a concept car. It quite can perfectly fit as one, yes. But let's give it a proper presentation. What I got for you right now, it's a 143 scale 1965 Toyota Sports A. I'm sorry, Toyota S800. The S means sports, but this car right here, it definitely looks like a concept car. It would probably fit as a concept car more than a real car, especially for a 1960s. Yes, this car was produced between 1965 till 1969. They only built 3,131 models produced in Japan as a IC Toyota, and this is a 60s Toyota, so you know what that means. If I had very limited access around the world, because back then Toyotas were more catering only to their homeland. Little by little, they started exporting cars, but this is not the type of car they wanted to really export. They were more into the mainstream land model lines, like the Corolla, probably, or the models like something that they can probably sell more. Especially back in the 60s, not many people trusted the Japanese models, not like today's date that they are considered the most reliable models around the world. Now let me give you a bit of information on here. It says this is the Toyota S800. It was Toyota's first production sports car. Okay, very interesting. The car went into production in 1965. It had a very small engine, 790 cc's, two-cylinder, petrol, which is gasoline in other parts of the world, you know. So these cars were more of a shape, but they were, as being such a small car too, they were very light. And being very light, if you have a small engine, it still can handle it. You're not gonna beat no Ferrari or no Lamborghini, definitely not. Not even probably a Camaro. No, no. These cars were more of a look car, but you can still feel the wind a little bit if you're gonna go down the probably Japanese coastline. I'm guessing they have like a route that goes around since it's an island altogether. Not sure, never been to Japan. I don't want to talk things that are not true, but I'm guessing. Transmissions, if you're interested in knowing, there's only one option only, a four-speed manual transmission. So nothing automatic here. Remember, automatics never been a big thing outside of the North American market, but Japanese cars, usually they try to put an automatic in it more than the Europeans, I'm going to say. I have noticed that. Okay. I think it's a really good looking car. By the way, before I forget, this is a diecast and it's made by Kyosho. Kyosho is actually from it's called Museum Collection. It's a like a I guess like a Kyosho collection group of models. Not bad. It says here production tables. In 1965, they sold 1,200 235 models. By 1966, they lowered to 703. And little by little, I noticed the number was going down. By 1967, they only sold 538, and so on. In 68, they sold 440 models. And the last year, 1969, they only sold 215 models. Trying to figure out why the number were all declining. I guess it was not really a welcome vehicle. It says the majority of the models sold were right hand drive. They only built about 300. This is very interesting. I didn't know about this. They only built about 300 left hand drive models for the area of Okinawa market. Okinawa, it's a part of Japan, but it says here that it was has were the Okinawan market, having been American occupied, drove on the other side of the road, and unlike the rest of Japan. That's interesting to know. I did not know that at all. All right, everyone. I'm gonna let this nice looking car go around a few times, and I'll be right back. All right, everyone. You know, one thing I wanted to share with you guys. I read that about 40 of these S800 were sent to the U.S. to. It was like it says here, a test drive to see if they were going to be sold in the U.S. But then Toyota, it says here that Toyota decided that we're not going to sell these cars in the American market. So at the end, there's still about 40 of them, or back then there were about 40 of them in the in American lands, in the streets of America, because after they decided not to sell them here, they still left them here. They didn't decide to bring them back to Japan. So obviously they stayed around. I remember seeing one of these cars in a museum. I'm not gonna forget which one. I've been to a couple of them, but I do remember seeing one in a museum in person. They're very small. So if you think the Honda Beat and the Suzuki Cappuccino are small, this one I think is even smaller. I'm comparing to other Japanese, a lot more modern, obviously, Japanese small cars. All right, everyone. Let me know what you guys think about this nice little sports car from back in the 60s. Do you think it was a good looking car? Do you think it was very futuristic looks for a 1960s? Do you think it was very early in the Japanese, for a Japanese brand to try sell it worldwide when it's still a very new brand and not very recognized or respected worldwide? I think all these things had a factor in it. I think this car would have came probably in the 70s. Maybe would have done a little bit better. Maybe a little better because by the 70s, even though they were still not fully, set up around the world, it had a bit more recognition around the world. These Japanese brands. All right, everyone. Let me know what you guys think about the car. Do you think have you ever seen one in person? Do you think it would have sold well in your country? Let me know. Don't forget to give me a beautiful thumbs up. I truly appreciate. And don't forget to click and subscribe. And when you subscribe, don't forget to click the bell next to the subscribe button that will remind you when I'm posting more videos. Take care of yourselves more than ever, and goodbye.